Right then, we're going to follow up on the Starfield Companion now by creating one right here in this blog. Now, we're going to start off with a guy in a bar. He's got contacts with a couple of factions. He trades information. This guy knows what these factions know because he literally buys and sells information from them. So anything they see the player do, this character knows. So right away we've got a character with contacts in both things. He could give information about either clan or lie. Now, why would he lie? Well, he might not like the player. The player's actions may be known to him, and maybe he doesn't like those actions. So this particular AI will analyse what he knows the player's done, and then decide how to react. So we start with a brain file, right, which basically says, I'm an information broker, I buy and sell. Then we have another file that says, these are the people I like and these are the people I dislike. Now, according to which category the player falls in, he'll either lie to the player or tell him the truth. He might even set the player up and have him ambushed by the other two factions he knows. But that would be dependent on how he's responding. Now, this information would constantly be updated, and because the information was on a character that literally walked into a bar and you talk to him, it can be assessed at the moment the dialogue is started if it uses the Skyrim system. So if Starfield uses the same, scripting language as Skyrim, the second he clicks on, I've got a question for you, it could analyse and update the character's knowledge of the player. At that point, he can decide, the actions he played. He might even talk to him about the actions he's done. He could say, by the way, I'm aware of what you did at the starport earlier. Some of those were my friends. Giving the player a clue that the information he's about to get is going to be wrong or a trap. Right? Or he could say, I really dislike them. He did us all a favour getting rid of them. Giving the player a clue that he actually likes what the player's done and is more willing to help. Or you could just give him a bit of blurb, a bit of background to events that led to the shooter that the player was active in. Why it took place, and how it was unfortunate the player was the one that triggered it, but it would have happened sooner or later. And then it gets down to the nitty gritty. Now, if you think of it as a point system between, say, 1 and 10, and every time he does something good, he earns a point. And every time he does something bad, he loses a point. It's a nice simple system. So if you've got a score of 1 to 4, the bad people love you. If you've got a score of 6 to 10, the good people love you. But you start off with 5 and you go up and down. And according to what point you're on, depends on, will reveal how much information they're willing to give you. So if you're an out-and-out sod or bastard, right, and your score drops to 1, then the bad guys might be willing to sell you drugs, do anything they liked for you. Goes higher than that, right, to 10, the good guys might trust you with their wives and their money. That kind of thing. So we have a scale straight away, right? Character does an action, these factions can see it, knocks it up a point or knocks it down a point, depending on how their alignment. Now the character has a way of judging the player. The character now looks at the player, realises everything he's done, he's either raised him or lowered him in his esteem, and then he analyses which conversation trees are available based on the score. So if the player's got say a reasonable reputation for being good, and he walks into this guy's bar and he's talking to this guy, and this guy's more lawful and crooked, you might immediately think, well, I can trust this guy, right? 80% chance he's going to give him the correct information, right? 20% chance he'll give him the information one below. Well, so let's say 50% chance he's going to give him the correct information for the level he's on. 25% chance he'll give him the information higher, and 20% chance he'll give him the information lower. So there's always a chance he might think, sod it, I'll trust this guy, or no, I'm not willing to trust this guy yet. right? And you stick that in his file, and when he's thinking about whether he should trust the player, remember, it's not automatic. Oh yes, you've got this alignment, so I'm telling you this. It'll be changing from game to game. So you get the file, and he thinks, okay, this guy, I'm not too sure if I can trust him. Should I take a gamble? And at that point, his brain file makes a decision, right? 25% chance yes, 25% chance no, 50% chance I'll just go with what I know. And so he goes with what he knows. That branches off. Now he tells him the dialogue based on that, right? But he's made that decision just using random chance and information brought in from the outside as to what he considers to be a good match for his personality or some player he can trust, and then goes with it. Of course, if you go to the other side and go, right, I don't trust this character, then you've got 20% chance less or higher. 25% less in this case means you don't think he's as bad as he seems, so you'll give him the benefit of the doubt. Or if you're a bad guy, you don't trust him yet because he isn't as bad as you wanted him to be. Or you go 25% higher, in which case he's worse than he seems. So you could think, well, he's either really, really bad or he's worse than he looks. Or you might think he's better than he looks, depending if you're good or bad looking at the same person. But let's assume it's that information broker and his character, he's a good person again. And he sees the player, right, on 7, right? Well, say on 6. If it's, well, I don't trust you, you're a team of dodgy sort, just hoof it, sod it, right? Comes back, now he's on 7, right? And instead of thinking, I don't like this guy, but he's bad news, so I'll send him away with some nonsense reply. So he just gives him a waste of time reply. It's a player probably run around trying to figure out for ages, and nothing will happen because there's nothing there he got lied to. And he gets to 8 or 9, and now the guy really hates him. And he's thinking, the guy's thinking, I need to lay a trap for him here. I need to get rid of this guy, get him out of my life. What can I do? Right? And he sets up a quest with one of the two clans, saying, this guy here, right, is planning on raiding you, right, unless you kill him first. I'm going to send him to this location at this time, you ambush him, right? And then he tells the player, yeah, actually, I do know where you can get that stuff from. This guy at this location sells exactly what you need. Just go there at 12 o'clock, that's when he's there, and he'll sell you the item. And the second he gets there, ambush. Right? So he's responding, right? And he's thinking it through. Now you could do conditions on the ambush, right? Add information like how horrendous was this person's deeds to trigger this kind of response from an otherwise good person. Or how horrendous was this guy's deeds to make, say, a bandit overlord love him to bits. You know? Make him almost a brother in the clan. So you could use this brain file to decide how an NPC would respond to that character in that situation, or that player in that situation. And you need to do nothing but process the information at the point the player clicks on the dialogue and says, yes, I want to ask you a question, processes it, updates the NPC's opinion of the player, and the dialogue appears based on the results of that processing. And that's the only AI in it. It's just a processing of dialogue based on alignments and what the player's done and what he knows. And it might not seem big, but you think of it, right? One line of dialogue you click on might trigger 16 alternative options based on the player's alignment. And once you've got that lined up, you could assign dialogue based on each alignment. So if you've got, like, say 1 to 10, and you've got like 10 possible answers, with 5 being the, I don't know, I don't trust you, but I don't dislike you either, and everything else being love you or hate you, based on, or hate you or love you if you're good, bad, you know, you reverse it, right? Then on the first one, the play, it's like getting a rank in a guild, except for you getting a rank with an individual. And he might give you information about clans he knows if he trusts you. So you get insider knowledge about these clans. And if you will use that as an interaction with other clans in the game, or other groups, or bandit groups, or police groups, you get this information from one of their trusted colleagues. They might trust you. It might have an effect on how this gang or whatever interacts with you as well. You see, so you could think, well, you could go up to a gang and say, yes, I need to talk to Bob. How do you know about Bob? Jim told me. Well, Jim wouldn't have told you if you couldn't be trusted, so okay, come on in. See? So this process can have a knock-on effect and unlock features in the game based on how well you get along with the person you're talking to. And I'm not just talking about a persuasion thing here, because that's a bit of a cheap shot, because it'll usually only produce the same result every single time. I'm on about the player actively forming an opinion about you and then having a series of options he can choose from based on that opinion. Now, if you leave all options on the table, you just give him a bigger or smaller chance of happening based on his alignment with you. So, if you're good and he's good and you've really impressed him, you might only have a 5% chance of him sending you into an ambush, but it still might happen, right? But you might have, say, a 95% chance of him giving you something worthwhile, or you might find like you got a 5% chance of getting nothing, right? And a 5% chance of being sent to an ambush, and a 90% chance of getting what you want. But the chances are still there. So when you talk to these people, you kind of like you randomise it a little bit, so you never quite know if he's telling the truth. And then you can use threats and intimidation or charm. And you could say, right, how are you doing, mate? Hey, I brought you some stuff. I heard you like this whiskey. There you go, bud. Yeah, about this thing I need to talk to you about. And the act of giving him a gift might improve his disposition by, say, 10%, making it a little bit more likely he'll give you what you want. Or if you give him something he doesn't like, maybe he'll modify it by 10% in the other direction, making it less likely you'll get what you want. See, so the character, our character in this bar, in some spaceport someplace, suddenly starts to feel like like a player, because his reactions are human. And if you actually make sure every reaction he does is a human reaction to the similar situation and not just a scripted event, then you could convince the player that who you're talking to is a living, breathing being and not just a pixel on the screen. See you in the next one.